Good morning, and thank you for tuning in. This is Amanda Ellis, and I'm happy to have you on our Office of Teaching and Learning webcast. Today is a special webcast. We've already filmed our Math Achievement Fund Grant participant orientation, and now it is time for our Read to Achieve orientation webcast. I have with me today Whitney Hamilton, who is now leading the Read to Achieve grant. She is our coordinator, and so I definitely wanted you to have a face with the name. We also have Dr. Shannon Sampson, and we have Dr. George Ruby. Thank you all for joining us. They are partners in this work and will be assisting you as you participate in this grant. Before we get started, though, before we begin the information, I want to really encourage you to please go to Go Soapbox. It is the website we will use to collect questions. This worked very well in the last session. You'll see the website on the bottom of the screen. It'll say https and you have app.gosoapbox.com. When you access that website, the access code is OTL. That will give you the opportunity to ask questions throughout the webcast that may come to you, maybe clarifying questions or anything that you would need to make sure that you can fulfill the expectations of the grant and ultimately serve our students to the best of your ability. So at this time, I will turn it over. Thank you all for being here, and Whitney, I'll let you get started.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning. Yes, I am Whitney Hamilton and the RTA coordinator now. I look forward to working with everybody this year. So I'll start with the agenda and the purpose of our orientation today. Here in just a moment, I will turn it over to George, who will be sharing with us about the work that he does. We want to just increase the awareness about what our partners have to offer and how they're a part of our work. And then we will move into highlights of the RTA grant to help us keep us focused on the purpose of our work. Then we'll get into expectations of the RTA team, including what you can expect from me as your coordinator. I'll share some approved PD opportunities for the year, and then we will conclude with how we will communicate this year beyond email. This will be for compliance documentation as well as resources. All right, so now I'll turn it over to Mr. Ruby, our Director of CCLD.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm George Ruby, Collaborative Center for Literacy Development's Executive Director. I just want to give you a bit of information about CCLD, what we are, who we are. Some of you are probably already familiar with us, or if you're not familiar with us, you're familiar with some of our programs, such as the Kentucky Reading Project, Reading Recovery, the Comprehensive Intervention Model, Adolescent Literacy Project, Kentucky Adult Education, Imagination Library, Early Childhood, and I could go on. We were established in 1998, so this is our 20th year anniversary. We were established by the General Assembly. We're located at the University of Kentucky, but we are collaborative by virtue of working with the literacy faculty at all 8 of the state universities. We have 4 missions. The first is to provide high-quality teacher professional development on behalf of improved literacy instruction. It's early childhood through adulthood, but for this webcast, we'll focus principally on early elementary for obvious reasons. We also provide high-quality training for reading interventionists and specialists. We provide research-based advisories and a research repository online, as well as evaluation services. And we provide a collaborative platform for the university, schools, districts, teachers, state agencies, and public-private partnerships to help improve reading education across the Commonwealth. We have several tenets that are key to just about all of our efforts, and that includes the Kentucky Reading Project. We focus on student achievement. That should be obvious, but we are very keenly aware that sometimes efforts to improve student achievement become ends in and of themselves, and we don't want that to happen. So we keep our focus always on student reading achievement. We emphasize changing teachers' practices. That's why we are concerned with literacy development. Literacy development and professional development are a bit different than just teacher learning. Learning happens quickly. If I tell you I have a dog named Biscuit, you just learned something. But it probably doesn't change what you know about dogs or what you can do with them, training them and so on. I'm hopeless with that. For changing what you can do over time, takes a great deal of intense support and duration and practice. And that's why we emphasize development. It's what you would do if you were going to develop good skills with a musical instrument, if you were going to develop good skills playing a competitive sport, if you were going to get good as a highly skilled carpenter or as a good cook. That takes time and practice and support, and that's what we provide. For that reason, we require a lot of intensity and duration of our PD. We don't do quick sit and gets. And we center our professional development around issues that the teachers themselves identify as what they feel they need to work on in their own practice or their students' learning. And on behalf of that, they work together in teams to develop a literacy action plan for their particular classroom in their particular school with their particular students. The intensive is during the summer. It's typically about 2 weeks. For the RTA program, it's 6 days, but typically it would be 2 weeks for standard KRP. And then we have follow-ups through the year where you implement your literacy action plan in your classroom and continue to work on it, tweaking it to make it better as time goes on. And then you share the results of your work in the spring at our Share Fair. We rely, of course, on university faculty and the research that they're familiar with to make this all happen. We don't just go off on whims and fads or fashions. We rely on research-based practices. Now, has this made a difference? All these programs that CCLD has done, all the reading intervention work that's been done, which Reading Recovery has been around for 20 years, Kentucky Reading Project's been around for 20 years, Read to Achieve has been almost around for 20 years. Have all of these efforts made a difference? And the answer is yes. Here are the 4th grade National Assessment of Educational Progress scores from the Institute of Educational Sciences at the U.S. Department of Education from 1992 to 2017. And you can see that in 1992, Kentucky, like I should point out, those blue boxes you see along the top trend line, that's Kentucky. The green diamonds you see along the middle trend line, that's the U.S. national average. And the red triangles you see along the bottom trend line, that's Tennessee. Now, in '92, we were, right along with Tennessee, significantly below the national average. If you had gone back to the 1980s, we were second from the bottom. But with, and someone might say, well, you know, you're one of the poorer states in the Union, so's Tennessee. It's not surprising there's a strong correlation between poverty and poor school effects. Well, poverty is not destiny, and we have proven that over the past 25 years. In 2002, 4 years after CCLD was established, we broke significantly above the national average and have continued to ascend at twice the rate of the nation ever since. Our 8th grade trend line shows the exact same effect. In 2015, we were 7th in the nation for 4th grade reading. And this isn't a fluke, this isn't a flash in the pan, it's a long, steady climb. Now, you may have heard that in 2017 our scores dropped. They did a bit, but only half as much as they had improved the previous year. So 2 steps forward, 1 back, such is life. We expect to continue to do very, very well. So we have to thank all the teachers, all the specialists, and certainly all the students and their families and the communities and the support that literacy has received over the past 20 years. So how does Kentucky Reading Project for Read to Achieve differ from our standard KRP? Well, it doesn't. It includes all of the same elements. Focus on student achievement, emphasize changing teachers' practices, require intense and long-term PD, year-long, and center the PD around teachers' concerns, relying on university faculty and scientifically based research. Three differences, however. You do not get course credit for this as you would in a standard KRP. There's a 6-day intensive, not an 8-day or 10-day. And the group, the follow-ups are of the whole group on Saturdays, not individual visitations to your classroom project. We just don't have the personnel and the resources to provide those elements. So we've adapted, but the effect so far still seems to be very positive. Teachers do seem to love it. So allow me to now introduce Dr. Shannon Sampson, who heads the UK office of the Evaluation Center, excuse me, and she'll explain to you the evaluation element of this component.
Thanks, George. So I am Dr. Shannon Sampson, and I run the Evaluation Center at the University of Kentucky, and we do partner with CCLD. So CCLD is providing the professional development, and then we are looking at how the program is being implemented, and then also the impact. So those are the two purposes of the evaluation. I'm here because you will be receiving surveys and you'll be entering data into the intervention tab, and those data come to our office, and then we use those to prepare an evaluation report at the end of each year. The evaluation over the course of this grant will change the focus each year slightly so that we can look at different things. So it may be really focused on implementation one year, impact another year, the school literacy capacity another year. But we have two overarching questions that we are answering, that we've been charged to answer with the evaluation. That first question deals with implementation. So how are the grant funds being used? And then the other question is impact. So we explore the extent to which the program is improving reading education and increasing literacy capacity in the schools receiving the grant. As you receive surveys and enter data, it's very important that you have a good understanding of what you're entering and that you feel comfortable entering it. So if you run into problems, know that we are available to answer questions, technical questions in particular. And we have the phone number on the screen, but anytime you receive a survey, our contact information will be on there, and we will always direct you to resources on how to interpret questions if there are questions. If we receive a lot of questions about technical assistance, we'll make sure that goes out to everybody. But do know that if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask, because we are very happy to answer it, because the more accurate the data, the more accurate a picture we can portray of what's happening in your schools. So thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. All right, so we will continue on with the highlights of the RTA grant. Now that we've heard from our partners, that was very helpful, so thank you to both of you. So you guys at your RTA schools were awarded funds to implement reading intervention programs or practices that address the needs of the students who are reading at low levels. The intervention programs, according to the grant, should promote effective instruction and aligned with trend data dependent on the needs of struggling readers in the school. So we do want you all making decisions based on the students in your schools whenever you are planning. We'll go on now to expectations of the RTA team, starting with the RTA intervention teacher. There should be more than 50% of the RTA teacher's time spent delivering intensive intervention instruction to identified struggling readers. The remaining time should also be spent delivering intensive intervention instruction to additional K-3 students, or providing literacy support to other teachers in the building, or leading literacy activities in the building, or possibly doing work with the RTI team, because the RTA teacher does serve as a part of the RTI team at the school. As far as literacy activities go, as what the RTA teacher might be working on in that additional time of the school day, that could be working to plan literacy events. Literacy activities could be literacy events for parents, could be working with teachers during PLCs, could be preparing something for an after-school meeting that's going to be professional development for teachers. The RTA intervention teacher should also be collaborating or co-teaching with the +1 classroom teacher. This should be documented in the schedule that you guys will be uploading to a Google Classroom, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So that takes us on to maintaining a schedule. It is very important that the RTA teacher does adhere to the guidelines that I've already spoken about, with more than 50% of the time being delivering intensive intervention instruction, and that remaining time being used to provide other support services in the building, whether it be to teachers or other K-3 students. We do understand that many RTA teachers may have supervisory duties. That is allowable as long as those duties do not exceed what other teachers in the building are expected to do. Same goes for planning time. We we realize and respect that there is definitely planning time that RTA teachers need, and even might be built into the guidelines of the intervention programs that you're implementing. But we do want you to be cognizant of the amount of planning time that does not exceed that of other teachers in the building, the typical amount of planning time that is provided to all teachers in the building. So if you have questions about that, you can check with me via email as needed. Moving on down the list, RTA teachers do need to attend fall professional this fall professional learning event. As I think Amanda mentioned earlier, we did not have anything on site this year. We wanted to respect your time and funds and get the information out to you this way. In addition to this event, though, we do require the RTA interventionist to attend a KDE approved reading or literacy professional development, a minimum of 6 hours. You'll see on the screen I have listed 3 approved professional developments that are available with dates there that you can attend. If there is another training that you feel would better suit your needs, the needs of your school, then you can certainly contact me about getting approval for a different one. We can talk about that as needed. Few more expectations for the RTA teacher. I will, within the next week, be sending out an email invitation for you to join Google Classroom. The title is RTA Compliance. This Google Classroom will be for uploading documents such as the schedule that was listed earlier in the list of expectations. This will be by invitation only. The RTA Compliance website or Classroom, Google Classroom, should only have RTA teachers in there as a member of the classroom. So that's, if you don't receive an email invitation and you are an RTA teacher, then you will need to get in touch with me. But do give me until next week, September 5th, please. If you haven't received your invitation by September 5th, then feel free to contact me and we will get that worked out. But +1 teachers and principals and other staff members would not need access to the RTA Compliance classroom. Moving on to collaboration. RTA teachers need to collaborate this year. This is a new piece with appropriate district personnel 3 times per year to upload RTA students' assessment scores. This is a new piece in terms of reporting. However, we are not asking any new assessments to be administered. We're sticking with the screener assessment that the school is already using. So whatever you reported on your assurance statement as your assessment, that's the test that we are asking that you report scores for this year. I will be giving more information about that by early October. So for now, this is not anything that should alarm you. Stay patient, and if you have a question that you would like to ask about that, we can address it. Otherwise, just know that I will be providing detailed information about reporting assessment scores in early October. You will continue as last year with entering intervention data 3 times per year into the intervention tab, into Infinite Campus, but with reducing the items that have to be entered. And as we heard from Shannon, you will still complete teacher surveys as directed throughout the year, and you will get those by email, a link sent out in an email. And we'll look right here at the schedule of your expectations of things that need to be collected. The schedule, as we've already talked about, that will need to be uploaded to the Google Classroom for Compliance, the RTA Compliance website or classroom, by September 15th. You will have your access to that by September 5th, so there will be time to upload that. I'm sure most of you have those ready to go already. You will be reporting assessment scores for each RTA student. That's what I'm going to be giving you more information about early October. We are asking for those to be reported 3 times, up to 3 times. Wouldn't necessarily be 3 times for every student, but we will be asking for scores by October 30th. They will need to be entered by January 30th and by May 30th. That will require some collaboration with the appropriate district personnel who helps with assessment entry. Again, more details coming. Professional learning certificates will need to be uploaded as you have your training or no later than March 15th. Those will be uploaded to the Google Classroom for RTA compliance as well. Teacher surveys, as we've heard about a couple times already, you all will be doing those mid-year and end of year, and I will send out a link via email for that. Here you see listed what will be required for data collection in the intervention tab. The list there, as the way it's put together, still looks long, but this is less than what we've asked for in the past. And those dates are October 30th, January 30th, and May 30th. Those match the same dates that we will be asking for assessment scores to be entered. And finally, evidence of leading professional learning to build capacity. It is required through the grant that schools should be, the RTA team should be working together to provide professional learning in the building, and I'm asking that you provide some evidence of that by April 15th. You will upload that into the Google Classroom. Once those assignments have been put into the assignments, it's whatever I'm asking you to upload, there will be details about what would work as evidence in the Google Classroom. So that will be clear whenever it's time to do that. All right, so that takes care of the expectations for the RTA teacher. Now moving on to the classroom teacher. The classroom teacher, the +1 teacher. This person should have participated in intensive summer reading training and will be participating in follow-up requirements this school year. Dr. Ruby talked about the intensive summer training that most of our folks were a part of. The RTA +1 classroom teacher should also be a part of this webcast. That takes care of the fall professional learning event. Participate in collaboration and co-teaching with the RTA teacher. That is definitely an important piece of the RTA grant. We want to be learning from each other as much as possible and reaching as many students as possible. The +1 teacher should also be a part of leading professional learning with teachers to build capacity in the building. And you will also be completing teacher surveys as directed by us here and as you heard from Shannon. So down at the bottom, it shows you that for what you actually will be turning in if you're a +1 classroom teacher is simply participating in the teacher surveys. You'll be doing a lot more than that in your buildings, but in terms of documentation, you'll receive a survey link provided via email for the teacher survey mid-year and then at the end of the year. On to the principal's role. Expectations of the principal include being a part of this webcast. We also expect for the grant for the principal to pay for the RTA teacher to attend at least one KDE approved reading literacy professional learning event. We heard about this when I went over the expectations for the interventionist. That's a minimum of 6 hours. The principal should also be monitoring implementation of the RTA grant program and collaborate in decisions regarding appropriate expenditures of RTA funds, and collaborate with the RTA teacher and +1 classroom teacher as a true team to develop a schedule appropriate for meeting students' needs. This is where it is important that the principal and the reading interventionist think about the amount of time that's being spent with students, the amount of time in supervisory duties, and of course planning time as well. We may have a good balance there that meets the requirements of the grant and what's best for students. Principals, you will receive toward the end of the year, you will have a survey, and that will be sent to you via email survey link as well. And again, those dates will be announced closer to time. And although I'm not physically in your buildings, I do hope that you will see me as an extended part of your team, as your RTA coordinator. We here at KDE are here to support you in the schools, and we really want that to be clear. So we, of course, are offering this webcast as a kickoff and to answer your questions and give our contact information and make us very available to you all. I am responsible for making available to you several things that you see on the screen here. Professional development providers, let you know who's offering teacher training related to the essential components of successful reading. I will be housing those in an RTA resources Google Classroom. This Google Classroom will be available to all of the RTA team as well as other educators who may be interested in the resources that we're going to have available. The the classroom is very much under construction right now. There is a code that is going to be made available to you today during this webcast in just a moment that you will use to access the RTA resources page. Anybody, once again, can access this page to benefit them. Right now, there is one question posted from me that I would like your all's feedback on, just asking how the page can be of most benefit to you. What resources would you like to see there? So I do hope you'll take a moment in the next couple of days to go on there and give me some feedback so I can start developing the classroom for you. Also on that site, I will make available strategies for successfully implementing early reading programs. Also information concerning successful research-based comprehensive reading programs, assessments, and intervention programs. And finally, my job here is to support you guys, support the RTA schools in improving teaching and learning through effective grant implementation support services. So please feel free to reach out to me so that I can be of service to you. So we're wrapping up here with our Google Classroom slide. This shows you that RTA teachers only will receive an invitation to join the Google Classroom. This will be the Read to Achieve Compliance Classroom. Here is where I will post the technical assistance that you'll need for submitting assessment scores to the district for IC entry. That's what I mentioned earlier in the 3 entries throughout the school year. The new piece that we're asking you to report, it's not a new administration of assessment, just new reporting. We want to see the good things that are going on, and we will be able to see that better when we can actually look at student data. Again, that information will be available early October. Technical assistance will also be provided on that the Read to Achieve Compliance page for IC intervention tab so that we can make sure you understand the items that you need to enter there. Very similar to last year, but less. And finally, on the compliance page, that's where you'll be uploading all of your documents. The RTA teacher will be. The schedules, professional learning certificates, and then evidence of leading professional learning to build capacity. Those will be entered in as assignments. Very easy to upload. Again, if you have trouble with that, you can reach out to me and I'm glad to help. And lastly, the RTA grant teams and other educators may join the Google Classroom. The code is listed on the screen there for you, G9LIV74. This will have resources on it. Do be patient as it is a work in progress. It's under construction and items will be added to that beginning in the near future. And that is wrapping us up and moving into questions related to RTA.
Well, thank you, everyone. Definitely, just again, a reminder, if you have questions, please log into the Go Soapbox application, and OTL is the password. We had lots of great questions. Before, we have had a couple of questions. One of them says, can you send out the fall PD opportunities? The location dates were a little blurry on the screen.
Absolutely, yes.
So we can send out, definitely we will send out the PowerPoint, the materials, this web link for those who need to watch it, who may not have been able to tune in right away. Sometimes I know there are different proxies on computers that make it a little difficult to get online, and so we want to make sure that you can see the entire webcast. It's very manageable, 25 minutes basically, and so you can access that. And then somebody just asked if we could please email the slides out. Absolutely, we will do that. Whitney, I know that MAF already responded to this, but how will teachers receive credit for viewing? Is it, MAF said just in good faith that they've watched this. This is highly valuable. We've had our partners here with us to share. Do you have any additional?
I don't have anything additional to add to that. We feel like our RTA schools are serious about the work that they're doing, and we believe that they would be so interested in knowing this information. Based on the emails that I receive, I get nothing but really good feeling about the interest, and I feel like everybody will watch. So it's the honor system, and I really feel like we've covered the big ideas that you would need to have the information about. So,
Okay. We also have another question. It says, can we receive ideas for appropriate evidence of leading professional learning to building capacity in advance?
Yes, so that would be something that I can make available on the resources on the Google Classroom resources page.
Wonderful. Another question has come up, and it says, how often do we give the EIR assessments?
Okay, that I would need to look more closely, go back and look at that program and get back with them on.
Okay, because not everybody has chosen
Exactly,
that.
every school does not.
So
use
we'll
that one.
respond in writing on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I understand correctly that we do not have to enter anything into Infinite Campus until after we hear from you early October?
That is absolutely right. On the screen, I have, so whenever you get the PowerPoint slides, you can review which items are required in the intervention tab. So if anybody wants to go ahead and be entering that data when the time is right, they absolutely can. But if they would like to wait for further clarification early October, that's acceptable as well.
And part of that is from feedback from the field about how completely time-consuming it may be to enter all the data that we don't really need. So we're really trying to consolidate that and make it worth their time. We have another question. Should we send the universal screening assessment scores or the progress monitoring scores 3 times per year?
Okay, that's what we're going to give out some more details on, some guidance on exactly what we mean by that early October.
And that would be the same for CIM students as well?
All of that information, yes, that all will be included,
okay.
Yes.
All right, that was just asked. Let me make sure I haven't forgotten anything. For those of you who did have a little bit of trouble, like I said, logging in, I know many of you have asked and continue to ask if this will be available. We absolutely will email that out to you. You will have access. And definitely reach out by email if you have anything contextual that would apply only to your school to Whitney, or the emails really listed below. We've had another 2 questions. Are there specific requirements for our +1 teachers from last year?
There are no specific requirements. If you think about the purpose of the +1 teacher and stay true to that, then I hope that person would be very involved still in providing, being a leader in the school and providing some literacy learning, possibly even helping out on the current RTA team, but there are no specific requirements.
Well, and they ask if you could update the attendance sheet like we had in the past.
Yes, and so that's an item too that I can make available on the resources page.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things to even add to that, the +1 is not for more compliance, but it's really to build capacity.
It absolutely
and really to know that the interventionist is not the magic maker, right? It's core instruction, it's the whole school, and so really take advantage of your +1 and really build out the capacity about increasing literacy in your schools.
Because the training that they received over the summer is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want it to expand.
We want to grow that.
We've had another. Should we send the universal screening assessment scores? Or oh wait, that was the same one, 3 times per year. How much time can be allotted in between interventions to physically retrieve and return students from their classrooms?
I think that would be a school decision with what would be appropriate. I mean, schools are of different sizes. Location of where you're transporting kids to and from is very different from school to school. Obviously, my recommendation would be that time is minimal, but we're realistic in realizing that does take time.
Sure. Just use your time wisely.
Use your time wisely.
Absolutely. Yes. We've had another question. It says our fall literacy kickoff event is in September. Do you need evidence or documentation for that?
I'm not sure I understand the question specific. Like maybe that school is providing that?
Yes, it sounds like it.
Yes, that would, if I'm understanding correctly, that would be uploaded into the RTA compliance site as evidence for professional learning at the school, building capacity, if I'm understanding correctly.
Great. I'm just making sure we haven't lost any other questions. When will we receive information about the 2-year grant renewal?
I would be guessing if I gave an answer to that right now.
We'll
have I'll have to follow up on that. Yes.
We'll follow up because we work with our procurement office that helps to work with that.
Yes.
With
so
that
there's
grant
some other
process.
people involved, but in plenty of time to take care of it.
Do we need to create new Google accounts or use existing accounts?
It should be their school accounts. So I will be sending the email invitation via your school email address that I have access to. So you would want to use your school email address. That will also help me track who is in the class, who has actually joined.
Okay.
It'll be easier for me to track.
Okay. I'm going to look one last time.
Now, if that question is regarding the the resources page, I mean, that one can be accessed using the code. The email would not matter.
Okay.
But for the RTA teacher, the compliance side, it would.
Okay. So it looks like that may be it. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, especially if you have both grants. You have been very diligent to get through a lot of information. Clearly, this is just a great overview and a kickoff for this year, but we are definitely available, as well as our education partners who help make this possible. They are available for support and service, because we ultimately want to have you be supported in the way that you need to really support students, guide students, teach students, and improve their outcomes. So we appreciate your hard work. We appreciate your time. Please feel free to reach out if there are any additional questions that pop up. We will answer them on Go Soapbox, and then we will be sending out in an email all of the information that was shared today, including the PowerPoint, the link to the YouTube video, and the additional information specific to the grants, what has been promised by our coordinators.
Yes.
So we hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.